All right, so it's a couple of years after I think I posted a video of a spherical aquarium I had in another place that I used to live. It was about 2.5, 3 gallons. I moved into a larger house, so decided to invest in another one that is roughly, I want to say close to 5 gallons, probably about 4.5, maybe 5 gallons. Of course, when you put all the soil and everything else, you're taking up a lot of space. So decided to try it again. It's again highly successful, probably more than the last one. I used a lot more nutrient-rich soil and used a wide variety of different types of plants in here. I set this up. Okay, so it's God, it's must got to be at least going on 4 months now, and like I said, this was highly successful. I used a variety of different plant species in here. There's so many, actually, I've kind of lost track. In the course of setting this up, of course, snails and whatnot get in here. So there were quite a number of shrimp. As far as fish go, I put 4 scarlet bodice. If you've ever seen these are nano fish. They're extremely small. Now keep in mind, in these types of spherical aquariums, everything will look bigger because of the shape of the glass. It produces a magnification effect. So when you look at this, you'll think, well, these fish are too big for a small tank like this, but in actuality, these are really, really small. So it's like a little jungle environment in there. I do a water change about once a week of about maybe 1 gallon. It's really easy to take care of. There is no filtration other than the plants. And I've had no fish deaths the entire time I've had this. The shrimps have done well. I don't know how many are left in here because when I first set the tank up, I think I put in, I want to say 3 Amanos and probably 4 or 5 cherry shrimp. Problem is the growth in here was just so overwhelming that I can't find them anymore. Every now and again, I'll see a couple appear here and there, so they're in there somewhere. But I've had extremely good success with keeping animal life in here. It's been quite good, especially with the snails too. Now the problem with the snails is they went really crazy. As you know, a lot of snails don't. They can breed independently. So I introduced one little pea puffer. He's in there somewhere, and he keeps the snail population down. In fact, in a matter of 2 days, he probably brought the snail population, which was considerable. There he is. Or she, I don't know what it is. That fish probably killed off probably half or more of the population within 2 days. They're extremely voracious when it comes to appetites. So, of course, this is not entirely self-contained. This light up here is providing all the light that it really needs. I try to keep it a little bit low light just because I don't want a lot of algae in here. There's a lot of algae eating snails and shrimps in here, so that helps as well. But also the growth is such, there's some lilies and a tiger lotus in here, so that will provide shade. And I have to, literally almost every day, I have to clip off some of these leaves. These things grow so aggressively that you have to stay on it, or this thing would be completely shaded and no light would make it down to the bottom. So what I love about these, they just kind of, they make a good little conversation piece right next to your couch. And again, it doesn't need any filtration. There's a little heater in here, which now that it's summertime, it rarely goes on. It's a little, I don't know, from PetSmart or something. And it keeps the water about 78 degrees. So yeah, if you want a really kind of maintenance-free type project and you want to have an aquarium, this is probably the way to go. You can find these little globe-shaped tanks on I think Who's, H-O-U-Z-Z. I think that's where I got this one. And there's actually a larger one. I think it's 18 inches across, maybe larger. Actually, this might be the 18-inch. I can't even remember. I've bought about 3 of these over the last couple of years, used for various purposes. So The one I had in the previous, the other video that I have, that actually got broke during the moving process. Those fish were given back to a fish store, and then I set this one up actually about 4 months ago. So the snails are still breeding. In fact, you can see their little eggs on the glass there. And I think the one thing you probably need to be careful about if you're going to do something like this, let me close this window so maybe I don't get as much glare. Yeah. One of the challenges with these little scarlet bodice, so again, they appear larger than they really are because of the shape of the glass. It's a magnification effect. One thing you got to be careful with that particular species is that their male-on-male aggression is pretty common. So when I went to the fish store, I asked for 4, and turns out they were all males. So they're constantly squabbling. They don't do any injury to one another, but they're highly territorial. So they'll, for the most part, they'll kind of keep to themselves. They've sort of divided up the little tank here into little sections where they can kind of mind their own business. But during feeding time, I feed them bloodworms twice a day. They'll run into one another and they'll start jabbering back and forth. They start flashing their fins and acting aggressively. It's mostly bluster, so as far as I can tell, no one's gotten hurt. But yeah, these are cool. I mean, these is just kind of an easy way to keep a tank if you don't want to deal. And it really kind of cleans itself. The snails in here clean off the glass. I put some nearite snails in here, so they eat algae and detritus. So, and the little puffer here makes sure that the snail population stays in check. So this thing has really evolved. I probably should have done videos earlier on how it used to look, but I do dose a little bit of liquid fertilizer in here about once a week. Very small amount, just because I don't want to encourage algae. So it's super cool just to have something next to the couch here. And like I said, it largely takes care of itself. I've actually gone upwards of 2.5 weeks without doing a water change, and it seemed to have no effect on any of the animal life in here. So if you're interested in doing something like this, you can find these spherical tanks. They're actually used for a variety of different purposes, but like I said, they're really easy to keep. And I think these things generally run, I've seen them as low as $40 for the smaller ones. I think this one was about, I want to say about $60 to $80. I don't remember exactly. And of course, you can find these little lights at your local pet store. So anyway, there you go. If you endeavor to try one, have fun.